Hello everybody. Today I wanted to get on camera and do my makeup because today is the birthday of one of my best friends in the whole wide world and her name is Era. I told her she could choose the color of my makeup today and she told me you're doing gold. So we're going to be playing with the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. For the face, I picked a bunch of products that I've been really loving over the past 2 years that I haven't been posting on YouTube and therefore really want to talk to you about. While we get ready, we're going to chat, we're going to talk about life, social media, some perfume. At least that's what I'm hoping. I might get sidetracked, who knows. For now, we're just going to get into it. So I pretty much always do my eyes first when I'm doing my makeup, but today I want to use a primer spray. So I'm going to use that before I go in with eyeshadow, just so I'm not spraying anything on my eyeshadow that might disrupt it. You can see that my skin's a little pissed off. I've got some redness, some enlarged pores, texture. I've got this lovely hormonal acne beard. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I'm treating it. But regardless, even if it was because I was just eating chips for dinner every night and not washing my face, you should still be nice about somebody else's face. Mind your business if you've got nothing nice to say. Anyways, I'm going to be priming my skin with this Hard Candy Stressed Skin Antioxidant Complex. Oh, it's actually a setting spray. I'm still going to be priming my skin with it because it has salicylic acid and green tea extract, and I feel like salicylic acid on top of makeup isn't really going to do much, so we're going to put it underneath. So this is the Stressed Skin Defense Antioxidant Complex, salicylic acid, green tea extract, and vitamins A, C, and E. Now, I used to really hate when makeup products would advertise having vitamin A in them because vitamin A, for those of you who don't know, is generally what a retinol is. Vitamin A can make your skin more sensitive to the sun. So can vitamin C and salicylic acid, actually. But this is, you know, like a $10 product, if that. So I'm doubting there's actually active levels of those ingredients in there. It's kind of just a nice soothing mist, I'm hoping. We're going to try it out. I'll let you know later if it pisses my skin off more. Jesus. God. Whew. I feel like I just got attacked. But it feels okay on my skin, you know. It's not burning any of the sensitive areas, so it's a good sign. Now I've put my sexy clips in and we are going to be moving on to the eyes. So I'm just going to be using my Smashbox Photo Finish 24-hour eyeshadow primer like usual. Now, usually I would go in with my powder foundation to set that eye primer, but there's actually a light cream shade in the palette that we're going to be using today, which is the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. This is one of the best palettes that Urban Decay has come out with in quite a while, in my opinion. The winners are definitely the Naked Honey, the Stoned Vibes that was released for holiday 2020, which I sadly don't have. I mean, I don't really need it. I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes. But I worked at a makeup store when it was first released, and pretty much every single night shift that I didn't have anything left to do, I had dusted every shelf in that freaking store. I would just go play with the Stone Vibes palette. I mean, like, swatch it on my hand. I wouldn't put it on my face or anything because it was just the tester. Oh, and the Naked Wild West is surprisingly really nice. I love the color story of that one. Anyways, we're going to be using the honey today. So this is a bunch of yellow and gold tones. There's some neutral browns in here too, but they all lean kind of mustard, and I really, really like that. I'm going to be using that cream shade called Flyby. Oh, I should probably zoom you in. So like I said, I'm going to be using that lightest shade called Flyby to set my lid, and ooh, I forgot that was a satin. So it's giving everything a little bit of a sheen. We're going to build on top of that. We'll make it work. Era wants gold, so we're going to be focusing on more of the yellow tones in the palette. I'm going to be using this shade here called Swarm on a fluffy brush. This is the Morphe M441. It's by far the largest and fluffiest crease brush that I currently own, so that's why I'm using that to really blow this shade out into the crease and then a little bit outward past it. Yeah, just blending that out until it's really nice and hazy, blends into the skin. And then we're going to be going in with this shade, which is called Keeper, on a smaller, more tapered brush. I really love the shape of this brush, but it's very much discontinued. It is the crease brush from Marc Jacobs. You can see the shape of it here. It's got a really nice domed top to it. So I'm going to be placing that darker mustard into the crease, not being too precise with it, partially because I can't see that well in my mirror over here, but also because I want this look to be maybe a bit more grungy, just kind of really blown out. There's this part of my eyelid right here that gets pretty scaly with my psoriasis, and shadow doesn't always want to stick on top of it, so I'm really having to layer it there. So then I'm going back into that lighter shade, which is called Swarm, and blending out the edges of that darker shade. Yeah, I really like how that looks. It's like right up to the brow bone just about. I hope you're comfortable with that, Era. I do want to deepen this outer V a little bit, so I'm going to go in with Drip, just kind of this medium brown. Era doesn't really like a dark brown because she finds them hard to work with. And I totally agree, but for most looks, I like to lay down sort of a dark base on the lid because I'm usually using something really nice and sparkly on the lid afterwards. And I don't just want my lid showing through the sheer sparkle or the multi-chrome or whatever. I want to give it something to pop against. So we just added that brown on there, and then I'm going to blend it out again with a little bit of Keeper, which was that darker mustard shade, and that same Marc Jacobs brush. Now for the fun part. We're going to put something nice and shimmery on the lids. I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Glitter Glue on my lids. This is discontinued and I'm so upset. It's the only thing that I like to put under shimmers. I know NYX has a glitter glue, but I've been through a tube of it and it doesn't stick the glitters down the same way. It's almost a little too emollient, and it makes any shimmers just crease up or fade a lot quicker. So the Too Faced glitter glue is kind of tacky, so I just tap it over the lid, and then I get a little bit more on my finger. I'm going to use my finger to apply this shade, which is called Golden. Get a nice amount of that and put that on the lid right across. There's a couple places where it doesn't want to stick, and again, that's just because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of that shade Honey, which is the bright yellow in the palette. I'm going to lay that right in the inner corner and then kind of bring it up over that other shimmer closer to the crease. Then I'm going to take that Marc Jacobs blending brush and blend over the top of the shimmers as they kind of meet the crease, just so there's not too much of a harsh delineation there. Same thing for the outer corner. I'm going to pat back over the edge of those shimmers with our medium brown called Drip and just kind of nudge it into the outer corner here, working inwards, not outwards. I don't want it to blow outwards like a big smoky wing or anything. I just want it to add a little bit of depth, create that illusion, and really spotlight that nice bright yellow on the lid. I'm gonna clean up the edges a little bit here. I know a lot of people hate that like sharp wing, almost like when you use makeup tape, but I really like it on my eye shape at least. If you don't like it on you, you don't have to do it, babe. So these are the eyes as they stand right now. I quite like them. We still have to do an inner corner highlight, brow bone highlight, lower lash line, all that good stuff. But we are going to do my base makeup first. Now let's see if I can actually start chatting instead of just like walking you through everything tutorial style. I mean, it makes sense that I did that for the eyes because Era wants to follow along. I use that spray as a primer, but because it is actually a setting spray, it's not like it offered any like blurring, smoothing, anything like that. And I do feel like my skin needs a bit of that. So I'm actually going in with a very much discontinued product and discontinued brand. This is the BECCA Zero Virtual foundation. I love using this because it's silicone free, but it acts a little bit like a traditional silicone primer would in the fact that it smooths, but this actually feels hydrating. It never feels like gross and slippy. It feels like a drink of water for your face. I'm selling you on it and you can't get it, so I'm very sorry for that. I don't know. If you were curious about this product and you ended up picking it up and now it's just sitting in your collection, give it another shot. Try it as a primer. See how it goes. I'm going to be using another hard candy product under my eyes. This is actually supposed to be an under eye brightening corrector. Similar packaging to that Florence by Mills concealer that I used in my last video, where it's got that metal doe foot. Just going to blend it out with my fingers. This is more of like a creamy and moisturizing formula. It's apparently got some skincare benefits in it. What does it say? Skincare benefit packed formula. I guess I was right on the money. This is nice. It does feel moisturizing, hydrating. It has a very sheer peach tint to it to help brighten a little bit. I feel like it did something. I'm going to be going in with my favorite concealer of the moment, which is the NYX Bare With Me Serum Concealer. I'm going to be mixing two shades because I'm an asshole. I bought this shade Vanilla in the summer and used it because it was the only one in stock. And then I ended up buying the shade Fair afterwards. And I just mixed them because Fair is a little bit light on its own. Really nice creamy consistency there. So I just mix them on the back of my hand. I like that they're in a pump because I can mix them into tinted moisturizer to give it a bit more coverage, and the finish and the formula with how nice and emollient it is really lends well to that, I feel. I'm gonna blend that out with my EcoTools Bio Blender and we can get to doing some chatting. So I got a package of a couple of perfumes that I ordered in the mail yesterday. I ordered them 2.5 weeks ago, which is pretty standard shipping time. They came from Canada. They actually came from my province. It was more of like a pop-up discounter shop. They're legit. I've shopped with them in the past and, you know, everything has been authentic. Oh, I wasn't worried about that. I mean, always be aware if you're ordering a perfume that has been out on the market for about 30 years, you might be getting an expired bottle, but everything came sealed. It was fine. I'm going to be using this other hard candy. I didn't realize I had so many hard candy products that I was going to be using today. This is just a tinted moisturizer that I haven't really gotten my head around. Haven't tried it that much. And I'm going to just take that on my beauty blender. This is the Sheerly Me Tinted Moisturizer, and I have the shade 110. Oh, that's very sheer. That's okay. We'll work with it. So I got my order in the mail yesterday. I ordered a couple of celebrity fragrances and an Escada fragrance. Escada is a brand that I would describe as youthful, I would say. You know, I don't really like describing brands like that. It's not really a Gen Z brand or anything. I would classify it as more millennial, but it's like an elevated Bath & Body Works sort of thing. It's like your first perfume after you graduate from Bath & Body Works body sprays. So the one I got from Mascara was called Sorbetto Rosso. I do not speak Italian. I speak French, but I do not speak Italian. And that one basically just straight up smells like a watermelon Jolly Rancher, and I kind of love it. It's going to go really well with Dolce & Gabbana L'Imperatrice. Sorbetto Rosso is very sweet, very candy-like. And then L'Imperatrice is more of a watery watermelon. It's like that fresh watermelon with not a lot of sugar to it. There's some florals thrown in to make it a little sweeter, but it's not cloying. So I feel like they're going to pair really well. So the base is looking, I would say solidly half decent, maybe like 3/4 decent. The tinted moisturizer really didn't do any of my expression lines any favors. It's really gathering up in this nice little forehead line that I have, and it looks pretty choppy up on my chin. I do really like how it looks on the rest of the face though. In the areas where it's not like struggling, it does look like a nice healthy skin finish. We are going to be going in with all cream products on the face today, starting with the Westman Atelier Contour Stick in the shade Biscuit. And I'm going to be taking the contour stick on this slanted buffing detail brush from Sephora collection. I believe this brush is discontinued, but they may have something similar in their new line. Just take that right on the stick, get a little product on the brush, and then I place it right under my cheekbone. So my cheekbone is here. I place my contour here, and then the actual hollow of my cheek would be along here. But when I place my contour down there, I find it, one, it looks muddy. Two, it drags my face down a little bit and makes it look longer than it is. And since I do have like a longer forehead because of my receding hairline, I like to almost shorten my face with contour. And if I'm paying attention, I always like to blend my contour backwards, back into the hairline, so that it doesn't end up anywhere on the cheek where it then could look muddy. And if you make a mistake with a cream contour, it is so easy to correct. You can just go back over with your foundation sponge, assuming you haven't powdered. A tip for those of us with shorter hairstyles, I actually like to bring my contour a little bit onto my ear. I'm going to contour my jaw, and I'll show you how I do that. I actually place my brush about right here. So it is on my face. It's not quite right down to the underside, but it is on the side of my face here. And I bring that straight up, and it looks a little intense at first, but then you just blend it down. Now, this is a technique that I mostly use for camera work. This is usually kind of clockable in real life if you've got this kind of 5 o'clock shadow going on and you're at a restaurant or something. If you want to camouflage that a bit more, you can place some contour back on your neck, under your ear. Again, if you've got a shorter hairstyle. So I guess I'll explain to you why I'm doing this. This actually recedes the contoured areas from the attention of the eye of the person looking at you. Darkness and depth will make things recede from the eye, whereas light, shimmer, anything with mica, anything brightened will pop forward and grab more attention. I like to make my chin look a little bit more angular by putting some contour right on the sides of it, then just blend backwards. Put some on the sides of my forehead to make it look a little bit slimmer. I don't bother to put any up in my hairline because I tend to wear my bangs down anyways. If I feel I've gone a little bit too harsh, I just go over with my beauty blender, and that tends to make everything just blend in really nice and seamlessly. So there we go. That was my Westman Atelier Face Trace Contour Stick in the shade Biscuit. And next we're going to go in with some blush. I think I'm going to mix my blushes today because I thought it would be funny to use this Melt Cream Blushlight in the shade Honey Thief because we're using the Naked Honey palette. And I find that this really nice peachy coral shade goes spectacularly with golden shades. So I'm going to take a bit of that on my sponge and just go ham. I'm going to bring that up onto my temples and almost kind of under the eye to meet where that eyeshadow is, to blend it and make it look less of a line there. I wouldn't want like a blank gap in between the cheek products and the eyeshadow. And that's just on my face shape. Do whatever you want on yours. And I like to put a little bit of that right on my chin just to frame the face. And then to neutralize the pink kind of sunburny look a little bit, I'm going to be going in with the M Cosmetics Serum Color Drops? Blush Serum Color Drops? There's no name on there. They're in the shade Venetian Rose though. So I just have that blush on the back of my hand and going in with the sponge again. Now, since these are really dewy, I like to add them pretty high up on the cheek, right on the cheekbone actually, because I don't want that glossy look right here where it would just look sweaty or oily. I'm going to skip highlight today because that blush is already so glossy. I'm going to go in with my setting powder now. This is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Powder Foundation. And I just use that right under the eyes, right down the side of the nose, anywhere I don't really want to be shiny or where I feel my makeup is going to break up or where I need more coverage. I like to put a pigmented powder right under my cheek contour, and then I go over my jaw contour with the powder again just to soften it and make it less clockable. Okay, I'm gonna go do my brows off camera with the NYX Thick It Stick It Thickening Brow Mascara and the Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen, both in the shade Espresso, just because I'm running out of memory space on my phone yet again. Okay, so I lied or changed my mind, but on the internet, pretty much the same thing. I did put on a highlighter because I wanted to use it as my brow bone and inner corner highlight, and then I ended up just putting it all over my face because Era asked for gold, and gold she will get. So I just used the most gold highlighter in my collection, and that is Solar Sailor from Kaleidos. It has some more yellow gold shimmer to it, and I feel it suits the look really nicely, especially with my top. So now all we have left to do is the lower lash line and the lips. So I'm going to breeze through the lower lash line here. I do want to make it smoky, but I'm pretty much just going to do a similar idea to what I did in my last look. I just kind of used all of the shades that I did in the crease and brought them up to meet the outer corner. So yeah, I'm literally just kind of bouncing back and forth between Swarm and Keeper at the moment with this angled mini fluffy brush and placing it sideways so that it doesn't go way down into my eye bags. Just sweep that up to meet that corner. And I'm just going to blend out the edges here with a clean fluffy brush because the base is set with powder, but it's still a little more dewy. I want to make sure that the eyeshadow on the lower lash line isn't sticking to any places in particular. So that's all blended out, and then I'm going to go in with Golden on this little pencil brush, and I'm going to bring that on the inner half of the lower lash line. And then, like I said before when I was contouring, that's just going to bring some more attention to the eyes with a little bit of that more yellow shade too, which was called Honey. There, that looks cute. I'm going to throw on some eyeliner in the lower lash line and some mascara, and then I'll be right back. Eyes are done. I thought I had a nice deep gold liner to put on the lower lash line, but I didn't. So I ended up having to go in with this kind of golden olive color. You can't really tell the difference unless you're really staring me in the eyes. And then I went in with the Ilia Limitless Lash Mascara. And I feel like things got a little spidery, but we're gonna live with it. I want something with a little bit of pink in it, a little bit of warmth to match that nice pinky coral we have on the cheeks. So I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Wherever Walnut. This is in my Project Pan, actually not this specific one. I have two of them, which is why I'm trying to pan the other one, but I can't find it right now. Gotta love ADHD. So there's that lip liner applied, and for the lipstick, we're gonna go in with, this is almost more of like a tinted lip balm. This is the Revlon Super Lustrous Shine in the shade Sparkling Honey. It's really nice and shiny, as the name would suggest. And again, I just wanted to be punny and use a lipstick with the shade Honey in the name. And this just so happens to be one of my favorites. It's really nice and comfortable and basically the perfect sheer nude. So there's the look, everybody. I wish I had gotten to be a little more chatty, but I'm sure I will get better at that as I keep filming videos instead of just going into straight up tutorial mode. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, the video, the look, and I hope you have an amazing day. Wish Era a happy birthday in the comments, and have a good one. Bye.